mad as hell, it's Kevin O'Sullivan.
While Meghan Markle was home alone in California with the kids, Harry was off-grid and uncontactable in Africa. An extraordinary situation fueling rumours that behind the gilded gates of the gruesome twosome's Montecito Palace in the Sun, all is far from well, particularly on the money front after the cancellation of their $100 million Netflix contract is reported to have plunged the worried Sussexes into a world of financial pain. When he headed solo to honour his late great-mother Diana's campaign to rid African countries of the scourge of landmines, was the prince taking a well-earned break from his wife's frantic efforts to persuade the public that her online wine and dried roses business is a roaring success? You decide. But whatever the truth, after he retraced Princess Di's footsteps in Angola, old Ginger Nuts quietly moved on to Botswana, where decompressing away from it all in the remote wilds with two of his oldest friends must have been a welcome relief for a royal pariah who is very much the spare in his unusual one-sided marriage. Harry extended his stay away with a 3-day visit to the back of beyond home of Tanya TJ Jenkins and her husband Mike. In his spiteful little book Spare, the Duke paid tribute to TJ for the pivotal role she played in helping him set out on life's great highway. So important was she after Diana's death that he came to regard her as his second mum, and even called her that. Courtesy of his ghostwriter's florid prose, Harry gushed, "She and Mike were the first people ever to cherish whatever wildness was left inside me, whatever hadn't been lost to grief and the paps." So he lost his wildness to paparazzi photographers. Really? What does that even mean? What on earth goes on in this guy's empty red head? Blaming almost everything on the meddling media, including Diana's death, which, of course, was the fault of a drunken Parisian driver and nothing to do with the evil press. But the dim Duke is out of Africa now and back on planet Meghan, where goodness knows anything goes. While the self-styled domestic goddess Duchess encourages ludicrous stories that she's locked in negotiations over her surely non-existent future with Netflix, a good old-fashioned dose of reality has been delivered by genuine domestic goddess Martha Stewart. Clearly irritated by talk that Meghan is the new Martha Stewart, the real deal Martha served up a withering put-down. In an interview with Yahoo, America's veteran queen of homemaking and entertaining declared, "Meghan, I don't really know very well. I hope she knows what she's talking about. Authenticity to me is everything, and to be authentic and knowledgeable about your subject matter is extremely important." Translation: Ms. Stewart suspects that Ms. Markle hasn't got a clue, that her alleged expertise is a shameless pretense. An understandable suspicion that anyone who endured the amateur hour awfulness of Netflix's feeble festival of fruit and vegetable slicing with Love Meghan would be hard-pressed not to agree with. It's only fair to caution you all that there'll be a second series of this unwatchable tosh in September. Not because enthusiastic executives commissioned more helpings of the Duchess's dreadful drivel, but because when they filmed the first series at a rented house that was conspicuously not Meghan's, they simultaneously filmed a second series, which, despite widespread total apathy and guaranteed abysmal viewing figures, they might as well screen. So be careful with your remote in case you accidentally tune into the toweringly tedious television turkey of the year. You have been warned. Meanwhile, breaking news. There's a new vintage of the difficult Duchess's rosé wine, Chateau Meg, on the way. After her previous version sold out within seconds, like everything else on her weird website as ever, here's your chance not to buy the next one. Over to our hapless heroine making her latest exciting announcement, complete with dazzling wordplay, on her brand's Instagram page. Oh, how we love seeing the world through rose-coloured glasses. Rosé-coloured glasses. Perhaps even better. Our new vintage of As Ever's beloved rosé is available next week. Beloved? Available? That'll be the day. Welcome to the wonderful world of Markle hyperbole. Either way, I simply can wait. Meghan Markle wishes herself a very happy 44th birthday. Prince Harry fires off yet another legal letter and flounces out of his ruined charity, blaming everyone except himself. Just another weird week on planet Sussex, where the gruesome twosomes' extraordinary lives get stranger by the day. Watching this tawdry real-life soap opera in all its lack of glory is becoming an almost painful experience. You can only feel sorry for a starry-eyed couple who fled to America with well-meaning plans to save the poor and the vulnerable, but now increasingly look as if they need to be saved from themselves. What can you say about a Californian royal wannabe who basks in the warm glow of an Instagram post by her oddball online business As Ever, gushing, "She pours her vision and magic into every detail, and today we raise a glass to her." Classic Meghan word salad that you can bet your bottom dollar she wrote herself. A fabulous feat of self-congratulation that began celebrating the woman behind it all. Behind it all? Behind what? A shambolic outfit that specialises in selling out of all of its obscenely overpriced, mundane domestic products and never having anything available to buy? Apparently, it's all about the quality of her factory-produced items, and the Duchess is not interested in cutting corners just to meet demand. My advice, Meg, get interested in meeting demand and get interested fast, or As Ever will soon be as never. But let's leave the unremarkable Ms. Markle to her bizarre world of cookie dough, dried flowers, rosé plonk and scam jam, and move on to that hapless husband of hers, a 40-year-old man-child lost in Montecito, ludicrously sensitive to criticism, incapable of ever seeing that anything is his fault, always pointing the finger at others, while with monotonous regularity boosting the bulging bank balances of his lucky lawyers, who he appears to have on speed dial. The litigious Duke's latest legal letter dispatched with anger after author Andrew Lowney claimed in his sensational new book entitled that Harry had a punch-up with Prince Andrew and bloodied his awful uncle's nose. Never happened, insists Harry. Old Ginger Nuts also refutes the story that Andy told him he was, and I quote, bonkers for marrying Meghan because she was way too old for him. Harry's spokesperson declared, "I can confirm that Prince Harry and Prince Andrew have never had a physical fight, nor did Prince Andrew ever make the comments he is alleged to have made about the Duchess of Sussex to Prince Harry." To which respected biographer Lowney responded that he looks forward to the Duke pursuing his complaint and the fresh disclosures it will bring. My guess? It's not so much the punch-up allegation Harry objects to, it's the questioning of Meghan's marital appropriateness, which sounds like classic Prince Andrew, a notorious oaf with the manners and morals of an alley cat on heat. But even if the disastrous Duke of York didn't say it, it's not a million miles from what William told Harry when he advised caution over rushing to the altar with a Hollywood actress on the make, which was the start of the Brothers at War feud that rages on to this day with very little hope of it ever ending. Testament to how the tempestuous royal redhead flies off the handle the moment anyone dares to speak ill of his sacredly special spouse. In the whole world, there's only one person who worships Meghan more than Harry, and that's Meghan. Meanwhile, the directionless prince's empty existence just got even emptier after the sad truth about his charity Sentebale came spilling out in a report pinpointing bad management, a serious lack of leadership, and a damaging boardroom battle that was allowed to play out in the public eye. In that furious row that erupted a few months back in March, seething Sentebale chair Dr. Sophie Chandorka accused Harry and other trustees of racism, sexism and a prejudice against black women known as misogynoir. And she likened the imperious Duke's favoured method of fundraising, posh polo events in Florida, to patronising white colonialism, all accusations Harry emphatically denied as he angrily quit, never to return. He co-founded Sentebale with his beloved late great mother Diana. Once he called the organisation's important mission to help African children made orphans by the scourge of HIV his life's work. Now the petulant prince has done what he always does in adversity: storm off and blame everyone else. And so another slice of Harry's dwindling sense of purpose dies a miserable death. What a crying shame. Wow! Meghan Markle and her spare Prince Harry have struck an amazing new deal with Netflix. Or have they? The delighted Duchess declaring in a carefully worded press release how proud they are to extend their partnership and expand their work together. So, brilliant! Another 5-year contract worth $100 million, yeah? Oh, no, wait a minute. It's not quite as lucrative as that. In fact, the jury is out on whether or not the gruesome twosome's new relationship with the streaming giant is worth very much at all. If you were sucked in by Ms. Markle's gushing announcement, you'd have thought that nothing had changed. So thrilled are Netflix bosses with their royal recruits that they're only too happy to hurl yet more mountains of money at the super successful Sussexes. But is that actually the case? I don't think so. Read between the lines of what looks like a classic slice of Meg spin, and a rather different reality emerges. This is a first look agreement which amounts to Netflix executives telling the difficult Duchess and hopeless Harry, if you got any good ideas, come to us first and we'll let you know if we're interested. If we're not, by all means, shop around elsewhere. Whether there's a small financial retainer involved, we don't know. But even if there is, it won't amount to even a tiny fraction of the megabucks they've been receiving since 2020. And if the not famously productive Sussexes stay true to past feeble form and don't come up with decent ideas, the reduction in the immense income to which they become accustomed will hit them horribly hard. With their massive Montecito mansion and planet-destroying private jet travel to pay for, the King and Queen of California's luxury lifestyle is staggeringly expensive. Losing $20 million a year is the last thing they need. But in fairness to the self-styled golden couple raking in the Netflix lolly, is not a total dead duck. Warning! The second series of the unacceptably awful With Love Meghan is all set to hit the screen. And if the traumatically trite trailer is anything to go by, incredibly, Season 2 promises to be even worse than Season 1. No mean feat. Her ladyship still finding new ways to show people you care by foisting amateur cooking on them while she just loves these moments of discovery and beauty. What the hell is she droning on about? Lots of stupefying shots of average-looking salads, pastries and flowers. Just as she did in the first series, Meghan manically cutting and slicing fruit, bread and pretty much anything she can put a knife to, surrounded by a pathetic posse of simpering sycophants acting like they're witnessing the invention of the wheel, a nauseating, swirling mass of twee twaddle for 90-year-olds, and the shock revelation that Harry doesn't like lobster. At last, something I have in common with old ginger nuts. But there, I'm glad to say, the similarities end. But if the grim prospect of more of Madame's life-sapping domestic goddess drivel isn't bad enough, now Marvellous Meg is threatening to serve up a festive special optimistically called Holiday Celebration, dooming those who make the mistake of tuning in to a very unhappy Christmas. Savour the wildly OTT publicity puff. Together, friends and family deck the halls, create holiday feasts, craft heartfelt gifts, and share lots of laughs. But of course, there'll be no sign of Meghan's family, her father, her brother, and her sister, all having been ruthlessly removed from her faux aristocratic world. And not a hint of Harry's royal family, none of whom talk to their sulky renegade relative anymore after the disgraceful disrespect he has shown them since running away from his regal duties. Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, has never met his ginger son-in-law and never set eyes on his grandchildren. King Charles hasn't seen Archie and Lilibet for years and no longer trusts the petulant prince who turned on him. So much for the Sussex's family Christmas. Also part of the Duke and Duchess's new unimproved deal is a documentary all about Uganda's HIV/AIDS crisis. Exuding Harry's white saviour-style worthiness, the short film Massacre Kids, A Rhythm Within doubtless tells an important story. But without wishing to seem heartless, its commercial potential is less than zero. In other news, still with Harry's Africa fixation, after he flounced out of his children's charity Sentebale amid a row over his alleged colonialist leadership, the dim Duke is reported to be devastated. As usual, in times of trouble for her hapless husband, Meghan has maintained a wall of silence. Why is that? Discuss. Meghan Markle is the flea in the ointment who continues to ruin the increasingly rancid relationship between Prince Harry and the British royal family. King Charles and his close-knit clan no longer want anything to do with their renegade relative who ran away to an empty new life in America. They don't even talk to the distant Duke and never will, while the difficult Duchess carries on calling the shots, which, in that weird, one-sided marriage of theirs, she undoubtedly will. With Meghan looming large in the imperfect picture, the ostracised Sussex's pariah status can only get worse. And the major Markle problem means a transatlantic peace pact is utterly impossible. After the perceived malevolence of Meghan's baseless charges of royal racism and her alleged bullying of servants, Wills wants nothing more to do with her. If she's part of the rapprochement deal, he simply won't have it. And an important factor not to be ignored, the king's loyal subjects won't have it either. Who says so? Veteran editor of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward, who has been closer to the royals than any other journalist for more than 20 years. She told Fox News Digital that William is acutely aware of how the British people feel about the woman who caused his brothers-at-war ferocious feud with Harry. The flea in the ointment is very much Meghan, said Ingrid. She's disliked intensely by a large number of monarchists in this country. They see her as being very damaging to the royal family. And also, I think a lot of people in America feel the same. They don't like that Meghan dissed her husband's family and dissed her own family. It's just extraordinary to think that her children have not met their grandfather. Ingrid's right, isn't she? It really is bizarre that Mother Meg has kept her heartbroken dad from ever seeing Archie or Lilibet. Nor, by the way, has Thomas Markle Sr. met his son-in-law. The sheer outlandishness of this jarringly odd, protracted estrangement is off the scale. And it's all down to one thing: Meghan's ruthless removal from her carefully choreographed, glamorous life of the loving father who raised her and the down-to-earth people she grew up with, her half-brother Thomas Markle Jr. and half-sister Samantha. Meanwhile, the Duchess adopts her practiced actress smile, puts on a dazzling display of unbridled joy and treats us on Instagram to her recipe for a single pot pasta dish made with homemade preserved lemons. Are you going to cook that? No, me neither. Nevertheless, all is apparently wonderfully well in the Duchess of Sussex's overpriced scam jam world. But is our oh-so-happy heroine looking through rosé-coloured spectacles? As those of us traumatised by the first stupefying series brace ourselves for the grim prospect of Season 2 of With Love, Meghan, what exactly is going on behind the gilded gates of the Sussex's spectacular palace in the sun? After Netflix reduced their $20 million a year contract to a first-look deal worth next to nothing, can their Montecito Majesties even afford the luxury lifestyle to which they've become accustomed? As Meghan hogs the limelight in a swirling mass of theatrical non-stop activity, her hapless husband cuts a forlorn figure, fretting about Sente Bale, the African charity he flounced out of amid devastating accusations of racism and white saviour colonialism that, although he strenuously denies them, haunt him night and day, desperately trying to re-establish contact with King Charles and William, only for them both to reject the very concept of healing the rift, with the spectre of Meghan still casting its destructive shadow. Safer for the Sovereign and the Prince of Wales, they believe, to keep Harry at arm's length because they just don't trust him not to reveal the secrets of supposedly private conversations. And while Charles and William's wife Kate wage their brave battles to beat cancer, the British royals have got far more important matters to worry about than the gaudy Sussex soap opera unfolding on the West Coast in all its tacky lack of glory. As Wills and Kate prepare to move into their 8-bedroom forever home on the King's Windsor estate, questions are being asked as to whether Harry and Meghan, minus their Netflix income, can even pay the astronomical bills for the upkeep of their massive Montecito mansion. Cynics suggest that's the reason old Gingernuts wants to reopen the lines of communication with his fabulously wealthy father, so that he can tap into the bank of Dad, who, exasperated by his younger son's insatiable quest for cash, once reportedly fumed, "I'm not an ATM machine." So there you have it, Harry. All in all, your regal old man is not merely a hole in the wall. Never mind, mate, the sun always shines in California. Enjoy. What just happened?